It's always been about creating great conversation that you can share with other people. Arrow.net, ARROE.net. We are unplugged and totally uncut with David Liittschwager.
I'm doing well, and you?
Absolutely fantastic, and I'll tell you, it's like a breath of fresh air to go through this book on a daily basis. You have captured something here that really gets inside our hearts, and we grow forward.
Well, thank you.
This has been a journey for you. I mean, you've spent a lot of time putting this book together and working with National Geographic. I mean, this is a piece of artwork that belongs in every home.
Well, it's a product of 12 years, 135,000 exposures, and the assistance of 24 scientists, at least, and a dozen editors, and it's definitely a collective work.
I'm glad that you allowed the scientists to have essays, to put their part of the story in as well, because, I mean, through their words, we also see pictures. And this is a collaboration of pictures and essays, and to me, it's just music for the soul.
Well, thank you. And I think the creatures certainly are music to me.
Oh, exactly.
And that comes across at all. I'm grateful.
One of the things that is so unique about this book is the fact that you have the white background. It's almost like they're out of water, and this is what they look like in a natural world, but it's out of water.
Well, I can guarantee you that none of it is out of water. Yeah. I think because I really just want to see the creature. Mm-hmm. I'm trying for copying, mimicking, some idea of 19th century European natural history illustration. Just the creature on a plain white piece of paper.
Yeah.
So you get to just see how the creature's made.
It's almost like I can reach out and touch them, and I do. I find myself, especially with the octopus, like I'm sitting here touching their tentacles and touching just different parts of their body, because you're not allowed to do that as a human being up here.
Yeah, we don't have access to these creatures in that way. So I'm just trying to get to some connection. On a sort of selfish.
Nature loves to hide, and yet your camera and you got to go where they were placed in their solitude, basically, and it's almost like they were saying, "Hi, welcome. What do you want to know?"
I hope that it's that. That sort of mutual regard is a possibility, at least in our imagination, because that would enrich our lives and actually make the caring aspect of what's necessary to promote conservation and ensure that these creatures have a place to live in the future.
Absolutely.
Get closer to that. That would be a lovely thing to be able to contribute a small amount to.
With the lens of your camera, do you feel like an archaeologist because you're going into areas that none of us get to? Or do you feel more like a historian saying, hey, look, this is the way that it was on this particular day. I don't guarantee what it'll be like tomorrow.
My career photographing animals started exclusively with endangered species, and that is not a happy subject. Mm-hmm. But it's ripe with opportunity to do better. So it's not necessarily a pessimistic story. And I think there's kind of a moral obligation to not sit on one's hands and to maintain personal discipline that promotes progress rather than depression, so to speak, if one can come up with that. So that, coming from that place, in this project about octopus, seahorse, and jellyfish, I got to go out in the world and just explore.
Yeah. Most of the time we see the octopus in full motion. They're always, scurrying around and things like this. But you actually stop them in a moment and with that lens, and you give us the opportunity to live out in their moment.
Yeah, I like this, the formal portrait thing. Mm-hmm. And my friend W.S. DiPiero, who's a poet, he called it being able to pause the river of time.
Oh, God.
And that pause button that I am able to push is about a 5,000th of a second.
Wow.
Because I use electronic flash, and that's basically the effective shutter speed. And that's really interesting to me, to be able to just say, hold on, let's just really stare at this thing. Mm-hmm. And that sort of license that portrait photographers have to stare is not something that we're usually allowed to do.
Right.
But in a situation of a formal portrait that one would take of a person, which is, I find to be really interesting as a photographer, you're sort of given permission to stare. And that's pretty rare, but it's a fantastic thing to be able to do. Because the only people that give you permission to do that is a photographer or a loved one. And that's a degree of intimacy that I find deeply satisfying.
Well, these seahorses, they look like posers. They look like supermodels. Like they're sitting there posing for you, saying, "Let me give you this shot. Oh, let me turn to the right. Let me let you see this side of my personality."
That's a really lovely idea. Thank you. But I think that, I have no idea what the creatures I photograph think of me.
Right.
There's no way to know. But if there's some element of mutual regard that is intimated, communicated, fiction or not, that's a nice thing.
Are there two jellyfish the same? Are they like a snowflake, unique in their own right? Because I'm looking at these jellyfish. I'm not seeing two the same here.
I think that all animals, there is individual variation. I know that, from the research that the writer did on the filaments that come off the heads of a particular species of seahorses are as individual as our fingerprints.
Wow.
So I can imagine that there are these jellyfish that make their living by cloning themselves.
Oh.
So from a genetic diversity point of view, their DNA would be identical. But even as identical twins, actually look slightly different because there are developmental aspects that happen during their lives.
Wow.
So, I think every one is an individual.
You are a lucky man to put your lens that close to these beautiful creatures. You're a very lucky man, and I'm so grateful that you shared your journey with us, because a lot of lives will be changed as well as we will learn through your lens, sir. And I can't thank you enough.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You be brilliant today, okay, sir?
Thank you.